Okay, let's see. Welcome, everybody. Let's see here. Let me welcome to our live stream. In today's class, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be drawing some foreshortened poses. I'm going to talk to you about some foreshortening principles that will help you. We'll take the sound is good. Bear with me, everybody. Okay, yeah, sound is good. Okay, well, listen, if you want to say hello in the chat, give me a thumbs up or just a quick hello. And so let me know that the sound is working. That would be really, really good on your end. Now, listen, we've got a little bit of a cloudy day here on Eastern Long Island in New York. So hopefully the light is going to be sufficient for our little drawing session here. Okay. So what I am going to do is I'm going to start with my warm-up, okay? And it'll give people a chance to join. And yeah, should be fun. So let me get a scrap piece of paper. Let's go with this scrap piece of paper. Absolutely. All right, awesome. So next week, I'm going to be, just give me a moment here. I just want to tape this down to my board. And it would be nice if I actually switched cameras here so you can see what I'm doing. Time out. Okay, cool. Let's switch cameras. Good. Okay. Now, somebody in the chat last week, not in the chat, but in the comments after the live stream, was talking about my microphone. And I love my microphone. It's a really good microphone, but I need to do a better job at actually keeping my mouth near the microphone. And the reason why I have this microphone is because I have a home office in an extremely noisy house with 2 dogs that bark at every little noise. So the beautiful thing about this microphone is if I move away from it, it doesn't pick up any noise. So that's why I don't want to get another microphone that is multi-directional, because it'll pick up every sound in the house. And all I need is like my 19-year-old son running in the hallway cursing and stuff, and that's going live on YouTube. That wouldn't be too good. Okay, let's look at the chat here for a second. Phoenix is here. Welcome, Phoenix. We have Baruch. Hey, and Michelle is here. Awesome. And loud and clear, Phoenix sound is fine. TYW01 Buenos. Okay, awesome. Now, I'm going to do my best today to use multiple pencils. But for the warm-up, I'm going to use my... what is it? Blackwing 602. I'm starting to like this pencil a little bit more. I would call it an extreme pencil. It's pretty extremely dark. So let's get to this. So you know me. I'm a very repetitive. Repetition is the mother of skill. And so I'm coming into this live stream cold. And okay, so I'm just doing my warm-ups with these ovals. Now, the thing, if you get into the habit of doing this, where you do not lift your pencil off of the paper, you're gonna get looser with your artwork, okay? So now I want to do one side of the oval, so I'm going to do the letter C. I'm going to do the opposite letter C. I'm going to do the letter C. And I'm going to do the opposite letter C, opposite letter C. So now what I want to do is I want to go back over the initial ovals, and I want to make them 3-dimensional by mummification lines that go around the form, almost like you're wrapping linen around like a mummy style body thing, whatever. They're just form lines. And this is 2-dimensional. That's 3-dimensional. Now, when you are drawing the figure, it's identical, people. It's just, the letter C with form lines, the opposite letter C with form lines, the letter C with form lines, the opposite letter C with form lines, and then continuous line, kind of like what we just did. Okay, so this and this are the same. And once you're able to get this in your mind that there's no difference between doing these ovals, doing these opposite letter C's, and drawing the figure out of your imagination, or just drawing a gesture pose of the model, once you understand that, figure drawing becomes so much easier. Okay. Now, I like this pencil for YouTube. It's a little heavy. It's a little heavy. Now, I want to warm up with a different pencil. I still want to do this warm-up, give some people a chance to join us. So this is a generic. I can't believe I'm using this. It's a 2B. I don't even know how to say this. I'm not even going to try. So I'm going to do a warm-up with this now. I just want to see something. This is nice. I like this slightly better than the other one. The other one's really intense. This is a little bit more controlled. And now I want to do something with my Col-Erase blue, because I might want to do it today with the Col-Erase blue. So with this, it's not always the best for YouTube because you have to really press down hard so you can see it on the video monitor. And if I really want to, so yeah, that's a little bit lighter, but I like this feel the most. It's just, I don't know how good this is for YouTube. Okay. And then I might try one more pencil. And where did it go? Here we go. I'm going to use this mechanical. I want to see what it's like to just warm up with this. Okay. So I used to be so hung up with just using the Col-Erase, but as of late, I've been really experimenting with multiple different pencils. Okay, so let me just look at some of the chat, and then we're going to get started with the lesson. I promise I don't want to waste your time here. I appreciate you joining. Sorabai, hello. Welcome. And I like the Blackwing 602s. I like the Col-Erase too. Judith, hi from Paw Paw, Michigan, and Magnificent Journey. This is my first event here. Thank you for making this available. I am at work as well. Might anyone know if this might be available? Yeah, this is going to be available to rewatch. Absolutely. Yeah, totally. These can work on a digital medium. So I draw digitally all the time, especially when I'm teaching. So one day I'm going to do a digital class, and yeah, totally. Now it's all about the brush on digital. It's all about the brush. Yes. Okay. And Slar, welcome. Okay. So that's enough of this on this scrap piece of paper. Now let me get into the aspects of what you should be thinking about when you're drawing something that is foreshortened. So let me trash this piece of paper here. Let me move it out of the way, and I'm going to get another scrap piece of paper. Let me put that over there, and let me get another sheet of paper. Okay. So this is just a small little. I have 18 by 24 pads, and so I cut the size of this big piece of paper on my computer screen. My Cintiq that I'm using as a drawing table is like 16 by 16, and it's a perfect size. So I get this excess extra. So this is really good for me just to show you some of these demos. And I think I'm going to start with the mechanical. I'm sorry. Now, let me zoom in a little bit because this is a little too far away. Okay. Now, all right. So foreshortening. Let's talk about something that is foreshortened. So when you think about foreshortening, you just need to think about overlap. Things are overlapping. So if I start over here and I just simply draw an oval, okay, no, that's a little light, and then I draw like another oval behind it. My hand's too shaky for that pencil today. Let me do this. And let me get a little closer at risk of you seeing my bald head. Okay, so oval, another oval behind it. So in essence, that is foreshortening. Now, sometimes the ovals that go behind you only see part of the oval. Sometimes you see barely any of the oval. So now what you get when you do this, like this shape right over here, I call that shape like a quarter of a moon. So it's a shape like that. Now we could call this shape right here a half of a moon. Maybe not quite half, but maybe a third of a moon. Then I look at that shape, and that shape maybe is a shape that looks like that. So it's a little bit more of like a half of a moon. Okay. And then this is the full moon. So in essence here, when you're drawing things that are foreshortened, you have to understand overlap. Now, let's talk about a cylinder, okay? So a cylinder, if we just draw a cylinder up top over here, and I go like that, there's no foreshortening involved in that particular cylinder. And let me do one last thing here. I'm sorry, people. I got to put this grayscale close to my camera so the paper will get a little bit lighter. Okay. So now, if let's say I was going to draw a cylinder on its side over here, it's not really foreshortened. Well, yes, it is. It is foreshortened. So now we get this shape. We get this shape here where I'm putting that little dot. And if we draw that, it kind of, that's the part of the cylinder that is foreshortened. Now, there are sometimes, let me just draw a tree here, a pine tree that is straight up and down, okay? And some branches that are, let me shorten this, get it on the screen. My bad, it's not on the screen. Let me just zoom out a touch. These drawings are extremely ugly, but I got to get you some theory here. So if I draw a branch that is going horizontal, that is a profile of the cylinder. It's not foreshortened. Now, if I draw a branch that's kind of coming down like this, it's kind of a little foreshortened. Now, if I draw a branch that's going up like this, that one is very much foreshortened. I'm just going to do like a little bit of shading right over there so you can see it. And sometimes you might get a branch that's coming right at you. So if it's coming right at you, you're barely seeing the side of that branch. That is extremely foreshortened. So what I really, really recommend that you practice doing is first practice just drawing a circle. Okay. And then a circle that is the top of the cylinder, and you see a little bit of the cylinder. Okay. And then another cylinder, and you see more of the side of it. And then another cylinder, you see even more of the side of it, to the point where this should be getting thinner. Sorry, my bad. And now we draw a cylinder that's almost like a complete profile. So less foreshortened, a little bit more foreshortened, definitely foreshortened, totally foreshortened. You're not really seeing any of the side, because it's almost like if you look at me now, my image, and I'm showing you this pencil, and let me do it to this way. 1 second, people. So this is the pencil in the profile. Okay, a little foreshortened, more foreshortened, more foreshortened, extremely foreshortened, where you're only seeing the eraser, right? So that is, that's how you've got to think about this. Now, okay, so let me relate this next to the body, and then we're going to draw some of these poses. Just bear with me a little bit longer, okay? So a little bit longer here, and let me lower that. Good. And let me sharpen this pencil. Let me just look at some of the comments. Kenny's, yes, okay, yes, it's available to watch. Oh my God, that reference looks challenging. We're going to conquer that reference. Just Sorabai, just give me like a couple more minutes to explain, and then we're going to draw that pose first. Okay, the reference looks challenging, but wonderful photo. Yeah, it's easier than you think. So now I want to talk to you about body parts, aka legs. So if we talk about like the upper leg, it's the letter C. Your butt is the opposite letter C. This could be your hamstring. This could be your pelvis. Okay, so now I'm going to chop the leg off right above the knee, and I'm going to make it a cylinder. So it's a cylinder, it's a cylinder, it's a cylinder, mummification line, something like that. Now, if we take this leg and we draw it in the way that pose is right there, It comes from the pelvis. It goes to the kneecap, and where that kneecap is, I'm cutting the leg at the kneecap. It's here, and then this would be the butt, the side of the hip. So that is that leg right there, and it's the simplified version of it. So it's a cylinder, but not quite. So it like your leg. This is the most primitive way to think about your leg as a cylinder, stick figure cylinder. You know, the wooden mannequin thing. But your leg is not straight. If you have this thing called sarcopenia, where you have no more muscles, your muscles are being eaten away because maybe you don't eat protein, or maybe you're sick, or maybe, yeah, it's called sarcopenia, then your legs look straight. People who are so emaciated, their legs look straight. But if you're muscular and young and youthful, you've got your quads bulging, you know, your glutes are bulging, hopefully. Your hamstring kicks out a little bit. So it's these rhythm lines of gesture that go on top of the cylinder. Now, if we take this leg with no muscle, it would be going like that. But this is the way you draw that upper leg. Now, the lower leg is calf muscle, Achilles tendon, bottom of the foot, heel. And so I'm just going to go like that. I'm just going to gesture down, gesture down. Now, cylinder, 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 cylinder. Now, this leg, her lower leg, we could put the kneecap like right about here. So now the lower leg starts here at a convex. It wraps around, and now we're going to cut the lower leg before we get to the foot, and it's going to kind of look like that. It's actually shorter than that. So if I do the mummification lines, it goes around, it goes around, it goes around, it goes around. So now that lower leg is looking at the knee joint, calf muscle, gastrocnemius, into the ankle area, and then the tibia, and then that is where the kneecap would be. So we go around, we go around, we go around, we go around. So that is our modified cylinder. That's the primitive cylinder. That's the modified cylinder. And so that's what that model over there on the left, let me zoom in just a little bit now. That's how you would think about their leg, because their leg is not a cylinder that is going down like that. That's the wooden mannequin doll thing cylinder, or the stick figure's basic skeleton. So yes, it's not that. And it's basically, you know, this is where the meat of the muscle is, calf muscle. This is your Achilles tendon. That would be your ankle. So this is more of an oval. This could be construed as a cylinder, but your heel is definitely a box. I don't want to get too much into form. And I teach this whole thing on how to draw people out of your imagination with form and all that, but that's a story for another day. But you've got to think about like the cylinder. The cylinder for that leg, it's kind of going like that. And it like one thing that could help you also is, you know, if you're just doing cylinders for practice, shade that side. Now I'm going to shade that side. I'm going to shade that side. So one of the surface planes should be in shadow. Okay. I hope that's making sense. So now what I could do, why do I always lose my remote control? Let me just take a little pause and look at some of these comments. When doing the cylinders, how would you go about knowing how the small circle should get as you go to profile? That's a perspective thing, and I'll try to teach you that very, very quickly here. How do you keep the proper proportion? We're going to do that next. Great question. Let me draw in this little section over here. So this would be your cylinder dead on. I'm trying to draw a perfect circle. That's as good as it's going to get today. And then as we start to turn, it becomes a little bit more thin. And then it becomes thinner as we get closer to profile. And then when we get to even closer, to a profile, it gets thinner. So look at my eraser. Well, what is something, this thing. So look at how thin that ellipse is. And then when I turn it, the ellipse got wider. And then when I turn it again, the ellipse got wider still. And now look, it's rounder like that. So it's when the foreshortened, it becomes a profile. But when it's foreshortened, you're seeing more of that front plane. We're not seeing that hole in the leg because what's covering it is the foot, okay, on that pose right there. All right, so I hope that makes sense to everybody. So let's just draw it now. And I'm going to show you when we draw this pose, I am not starting with anything that's foreshortened, and that's the trick, okay? You don't start with the object that is foreshortened because that's like eating dessert first. You don't want to eat dessert first. You want to have like good protein first, right? Okay, so I've got this piece of paper. I got to tape it down. Just bear with me. Where's my tape? Just looking at the comments here. Okay, yeah, so we're going to talk about how to start this pose. I've got like a few poses lined up here today. Okay, time out. Let me just tape this down. And I got it. I don't know, every time I start a live stream, like, it's like I'm in the desert. I think it's just because I'm talking so much. I get so thirsty when I do this. Okay. Okay. So just watch me here for a moment, draw this out, and let me see how big this is, because I'm teaching a pre-college next week at the School of Visual Arts, 2 classes, a 9 to 12 class and a 1 to 4 class. And so I'm going to be doing gesture drawing all week. This is insanely small, 7 inches. But for the live stream, I'm going to draw a little smaller. I draw my gesture poses double this size in the classroom, 14 inches on an 18-inch piece of paper. So let's see how I do with this. So, okay, look at the pose, Matt. Look at the pose, draw the pose. So I'm starting, I want to make the first placement line in a place where, okay, if this is this model's hip, do I have enough room for the foot? I do. Do I have enough room for the top of her head without the hair? I do. So I can always zoom out. So let's start with what is not foreshortened. So I don't want to press down too hard, but I have to because of YouTube, so you can actually see what the heck I'm doing. So this is more of the side of the model's hip. Okay. And then this is the side of the rib cage, aka torso peanut shape. This I'm drawing through the breast. We'll add the breast after. This is the other side of the model's hip. And then the privates wrap around the center line of the butt. So now I'm just going to get the shoulders. So this is so tiny, but I'm going to stop complaining and just like continue to draw. So you start with the torso. That is not foreshortened. And I drew the torso not wide enough, but it's all good. I'm going to suspend my need for likeness on this. So now what I'm going to do is just get a landmark. So the landmark is going to be the top of the bottoms. That's an oxymoron. The top of the bottoms. So I'm immediately getting the form of this gal's shorts. Okay, let's just call them shorts. Okay, so now I'm going to get in a little bit of the navel. I think I can zoom in because I'm drawing tiny. Okay. A little bit of the navel, and then I'll come and maybe widen this a little bit. And so now I'm going to get the bottom of the top just wrapping around. I'm going to be a little bit more playful with it, the strap. And so let's just get a suggestion of how the top looks. So you start with what is not foreshortened, aka, for me personally, the torso. Okay, it's so not perfect, but it's good enough right now. I'm going to put a little shape right there. So now I'm going to continue drawing what is not foreshortened, and then we're going to draw that crazy leg and that crazy arm. So now I'm going to do the opposite letter C for that leg, kneecap area, the letter C for the lower leg into the gesture of the foot. So now we've got this foreshortened leg. Okay, so I'm going to do the butt, kicking out, and now I'm going to do the inside of the knee. So this could be kicked out more. Okay, good. Inside of the knee. Now we've got to do a little bit in the middle. Now look at the kneecap. The kneecap is higher than the bottom of the shorts. Let's just call them shorts. So now I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you some other things here in a moment. So I'm going to do the letter C to the heel. And now look, I'm looking, let me get this leg. So, this is too long. That kneecap needs to be a little bit higher up. So I'm just going to roll this in and the top of the foot. So I've got so many mistakes here. This is good. I'll draw it again for you. I'm going too slow and I'm talking too much, so I'm screwing up. So what do I see that's the biggest mistake that I did here? And now this is going to bring us into the next aspect of when you're drawing somebody that's foreshortened, what do you need to look at? So look at this negative space. Oh my God, I totally screwed up on that, right? So if that's the model's leg and that's the knee area and that's the top of her foot, the negative space is so thin, but look, I made it too big. So you need to use negative space, in my opinion, when you're drawing something that is foreshortened. If you do not, this is what's going to wind up happening if you're going for likeness. Does that make sense? If you don't care about likeness, well, then you're like, you know what? I don't really care about likeness. I want to exaggerate. I want to make this foot here much, much bigger. And I want there to be bigger foot, bigger toes, to create the illusion of this foot is really coming forward. Well, then that's a different set of rules that you're using there. And that's okay, as long as you set the rules for your drawing. So in this particular case, it's not likeness, it's exaggeration. So you have to figure out what's best for you. I'm not really into the exaggeration thing at all. Some artists really are, and I think, that's good. It's variety. Like, everybody has their own little thing. So now what I can do is I showed you, I'll show you one more thing. So what we have here is cylinder, 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 cylinder line, cylinder line. Cylinder line of the lower leg, cylinder line of the lower leg, cylinder line of the lower leg, cylinder line of the top of the foot, cylinder line of the big toe. So that's just a cylinder coming at you. And if we did it primitively, the cylinder would kind of look like that. And then what did we say? Originally, overlap. So now we have this, I'm going to do like a cone shape. There's overlap, so the calf muscle is overlapping. And now the foot, the top of the foot, is also a weird cylinder. That's overlapping. So you've got all that overlapping, and it's one big hot mess, right? I hope that makes sense. Now, the last thing that most students hate is you must, in my opinion, this is just me. I went to go press the shift key in Photoshop. That makes the line go straight, but I'll just, just freehand it. What is right below the outside of that model's leg? You must do the measure line. Okay, that's a must for me. Like, I do that all the time. Now, I'm a buffoon. I did not do that soon enough, so I didn't do a measure line up from the inside of this gal's leg where it's like where her butt is starting, and I didn't go above that. What's above that? Well, freak, the kneecaps to the right of that. And then, what's right below the side of the foot? What's right below that? And then if we come down over here and we were to draw the model's foot, what's right up above from the model's toes? So I have that foot. It should be center of the chest. So it's not that bad. It's not that bad. So now if I just do that, that would be head. Okay. Now, in terms of, like, let's primitively do this arm. So the upper arm without the lower arm. So I'm just trying to study this. That's not the arm, Matt. That's the lat muscle. Lat muscle. And the upper arm is this. You're only seeing that part of the upper arm, that shape. And we're going to call that like an eighth of a moon. And then the forearm, without the hands now, is a cylinder that's going like that. So that is our side of the cylinder. Is that on the video? No. Okay. And this is the other cylinder, and that is the wrist that's chopping off the finger, the hand if it was chopped off. And so now, look, finger is also a cylinder. Finger is also a cylinder that's going down like that. Let me just look at some of these comments here. Glad to catch you live, Stacy. Hi, Stacy. Welcome. It's going too fast to follow along, Jordan, Matt, but maybe it's just me. So Sorabai, I'm going to go slow on the pose because I was going a little bit too fast. I'm trying to keep everybody kind of semi-interested here. So let me just do this for you, right, one more time. Cylinder. Cylinder. You should do this, Sorabai. And cylinder. Is this on? No, it's not on. Let me do it over here. Cylinder and pure profile. So you should shade that. So that's going to help with the surface plane shift and show to the viewer that one side is a front plane versus a top plane. So Sorabai, this is what you should be practicing, these cylinders like that. And then what you could do is you could overlap. I'm going to do a little cylinder in front of that cylinder. I know that went off the video monitor. So that's what foreshortening is. It's basically cylinders overlapping, or let's say like an oval overlapping a cylinder. And then you can do combo platters. So that's a cylinder overlapping more of a profile cylinder. I hope that makes sense, everybody. Okay. So I'm going to start over again. But first I'm going to get a little swig of water. I'll try to go a little slower, okay? Okay. Just getting another piece of paper. Awesome. And tape, Matt. Tape is good. Tape the paper down. Okay. So today I'm not. Last week we did pretty model, pretty drawn. I'm just trying to do more teaching today. I'm not worried about pretty. Okay. So what pencil? Let's just stick with this. Okay. Let me get a little closer. I'm just way too freaking far away from the drawing. God. Okay. Let me move my photo reference closer. Awesome sauce. And I'm going to zoom out. Sorry. Good. Okie dokie. I'm just looking to make sure I have space. So I'm going to start over again, everybody. So just bear with me. Bear with me. So we've got the side of the model's body, the lat, and now we've got the model's hip. And I'm going to wrap around like we did earlier to the other hip. And then I'm going to go around through the neck. That is the torso. So I'm just going to indicate that little navel. Okay, and then I'm going to go a little faster now. So I'm going to do upper leg. I know that's light on YouTube. I'm sorry. God, okay. Just let me get some lines down and then to build my confidence up, and then we'll go from there. So how far away is the bottom of that butt leg thing from the navel? It's pretty far. So hamstring into the inside of the knee. And now my opposite C, and I'm just going to cruise on down to that foot. So this would be the model's kneecap. I'm just looping down, and I'm going to get the bottom of the model's foot. And I'm drawing what is not foreshortened first to build up my confidence. And I think maybe I drew that upper leg a little bit too long. So I'm a little bit more mindful on this one of the proportions. Now, if I go above what is right up above that kneecap, the navel is slightly to the left of that. I'm not even going to use this eraser. It's so dried out. Okay, so I'm not going to draw anything foreshortened just yet. So now I'm going to come back and get this model's oblique, rib cage, excuse me. Look at the distance from the bottom of the breast to the top of that leg. And it's a little bit lower. It's a little bit closer. So I'm going to get the breast coming on up and then the chest muscle and just gesture down to that arm. Cool. And I'm going to put a quick like little oval in for the head. I see, Matt. Yeah, loosen up, loosen up. So now let's do the foreshortened quality of this particular pose. So again, we're going now. I want to draw. I'm looking at the negative space before I do anything. So this is the model's foot. Holy Moses, that is foreshortened. And what is across from the model's foot? So the navel. So if I go across, it's not even really even that low. Oh my God. Okay. So it's letter C for the model's hip. Inside of the leg, wrapping around the bottom of the shorts. And now this is very short, the lower leg, and then the heel of the model's foot. So I'm going to move this over. So you're right. This is an extremely difficult pose, and you can see me struggling through it. Normally I get this, but I guess I haven't drawn foreshortened poses enough lately, so it's kicking my butt, which is fine. You know, it's just if you can wrap your brain around saying to yourself, it's all practice, then it's less stressful. So now, top of the foot, that's the tibia, kneecap. I'm doing continuous line because that's what I like to do. And I'm just going to shade that. And let's just come over here. Now, I'm going to go a little faster. I'll look at the chat here in a second. Let me just focus on drawing. So yes, kneecap. And let's do the bottom of the top. This is the lat muscle. That is this model's. How far away is the upper arm from the top of the bottoms? Say right there. And now this arm is a cylinder. Fingers that are not foreshortened to ring finger, pointer finger. I'm just drawing them as a cylinder. Is that on the video? Yes. I can zoom in a little bit now. Okay. Sorry, my bad. I'm trying to be more stylized today, everybody. I'm not trying to be like what I did last week with the realism. And I need to move this piece of paper. Okay, so okay, cool. And I'm trying to go as fast as I can, but I don't want to go too fast just so people can draw along with me and not get overwhelmed. And so I like that you can see me screwing up. Because I follow people, and you watch them, and like everything's so perfect, and you're like, really, I suck. I'm never gonna. So I'm thinking of this right now. I've got, how many people are watching? Not a lot of people. 33 people watching me screw up. It's all good. I think of this as like practice for when I'm teaching class on Monday morning at 9 a.m. and I've got a room full of high schoolers because it's pre-college, and they're all looking at me like, and I have to make sure that I'm not boring them to death. So this is great. I'm thinking of this as great practice for that, because in person is different than on YouTube. It's kind of you've got to run a class, not teach a class. You have to run it and make sure everybody's having fun and everybody's learning and everyone is like occupied. Okay, so now gesture down. Sometimes, like when I'm drawing something like this, I wouldn't even draw. Is this on the monitor? Yes, I wouldn't even draw. Look at the negative space between here and here, the arm. I would just suggest, like I'll suggest the thumb, I'll suggest the shadow of the back of the hand into the two fingers, and then just suggest that. See, when I did it like that, see, I'm getting warmed up now. Look, this just looks so much looser than this leg is a disaster. Because it's like I'm outlining everything. You see what I just did here? I didn't care, and I just suggested, and that's how you want to do things. So, okay, side of the face. Jesus Christ. Okay, and the hair, and let's just wrap around with the eyes. You have to laugh sometimes. I'm just going to do like a little tone over here. Is this on the camera? So I'm going to, not important right there. I'm just going to do a quick like little eyebrow, one little eye there, and an eye socket, and hair and ear. Okay, cool. So now these fingers are catching light. This arm is not. Let me resharpen the pencil. And so this arm is in shadow. So this gal is so cut and so muscular that it's actually confusing when you're doing this quickly. So this is the fingertip. I've exaggerated the fingertips and I've made them bigger so you could see. This is the pointer finger. I'm doing the cylinder lines on the, because I'm not trying to draw pretty, I'm just trying to draw for teaching cylinder lines, and then the thumb is covering her other eye. Thumb muscle. I'm shading that now. Okay. So we can just maybe draw the model's top. A little bit of shape. Rib cage. A little bit of shape. And oh boy, this leg's kicking my butt. Let me just be sloppier. Okay, so look, it is what it is. It's an ugly kind of teaching drawing. Sometimes I get lucky and they look pretty. So if I just show you this on the side, everybody, I'm happier. So listen, when you're drawing at home, like you've got to pay attention to what you did good. So I am much happier with this negative space. Much. Is it perfect? No. Am I happier with that? Yes. I screwed up over here. Let me see. How does this eraser work with this? Oh, it works great. So now look, let me just show you how we can soften the drawing and make it a little less outliney. Just erase. Outlines are the kiss of death when you're trying to be loose. I've got other poses. I want to make this one acceptable. And I also want to draw on the side of it to show you some of these things. Okay, CHN, thank you so much. Yusra, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining us today. Um, Yusra, DTO is a great site to learn. We missed you yesterday on the Zoom class. That was a fun class. We were doing the previous week, as you know, we did the facial expressions, but yesterday we did extreme lighting situations on portraits, and it was great. I don't know if you saw the replay of it, and I put my drawings up there. So okay, so let's talk about a couple things on this drawing. This needs to be kicked out. So remember, you're saying to yourself, this is just a teaching drawing, people, so I don't really care. But you've got to do this. Like, what is above the heel? What is above the outside of the calf muscle? What is above the outside of the hip? Or what is below that? This is what I'm not doing enough of. What is below that? What is below that? These are measure lines. Measure lines are your best friend. The problem with the measure lines is that it makes you think too much, and it takes you out of the flow state, and you think too much and you measure, and they're clumsy, basically. But yeah, and then this thing over here, that is negative space. You must glance at the negative space. You don't need to be like a drawing on the right side of the brain, negative space, where you're going to do that sort of exercise. But maybe just focus in on one or two negative spaces. So being able to draw accurately, and that shape fits in there like a puzzle. Okay, so I think we're going to move on to a different pose now. Other things for you to think about. So we talked about the measure lines. We talked about the negative space. Now you draw the bottom of the foot in tone. You draw this part of the model's shorts in tone. Why? So that leg comes forward. It's all in light. This coming all the way up, we shade like this into the neck. It creates flow and it creates movement. Over here, this technically, everybody, is a background leg. So maybe I did the wrong thing by going so flippin' dark with it. So if that is, and here's another aspect of foreshortening that you need to pay attention to. So this is a background leg. That's foreground. So technically, the hardest edge should be on the model's foot. So if I was to come over here and just go a little darker with some of these toes, yes, we're drawing toes, people. And I go darker with that, that should come forward. And so if I sit with this thing for long enough, I could get it, but I want to move on to a different pose. So I'm going to call this my warm-up pose. Now, look, you see how that's coming forward? Now that I went lighter with that leg? Oh, God, I really screwed up. Okay. Talk positive, Matt. Talk positive. Okay, so this is the cylinder on that leg. This needs to be so... Don't be afraid of your drawings. Just kind of like draw on top of them and just fix things. And bottom of the heel, a little bit of tone into that foot. So I'm going to scribble that down. Best part of the drawing is the hand that I spent the least amount of time on. So that should give us a clue. This is a really, really, really good warm-up drawing for me. Talk 14, welcome. All right, let's switch. Let's get out of this pose. Let's look at a different one. Ooh, let's do this one. It's kind of the same. I have other ones. I have other ones. I've got this one. Ooh, okay. And I've got this one. Those lower legs are so foreshortened. They're great examples, and they're a little simpler. So let's look at this. Oh, Jesus. Okay. It's not as bad as I think it is. I'm just not giving myself enough credit. It's it's a good warm-up sketch. My fingers are loose now, kind of, not really. Okay, let me get another sheet of paper here, people. Now, I'm going to try to draw faster and maybe see what happens if I do a 2-minute gesture pose of this and not worry about the foreshortened aspect of it and just draw it and see what happens. Okay, so just let me tape this sheet of paper down. Oh, God. Okay, time out. I'm just trying to make it perfectly level. Okay. We've got a rainy summer day here. It's like a sauna outside. Okay, I missed a couple of questions, so let me just go back. So the question from Baruch, hi Matt, at what point would you say gesture drawings by time 2-minute intervals would actually help us? Should we be able to perfectly replicate a gesture without time first? There's 14 million different answers to that question, but my answer is this. I think the more 2-minute gesture drawings you do, the faster you get, and you also see proportions faster. So I start every single class with a 20-minute session of 10 2-minute poses. And I've been doing this since I started teaching life drawing. I started teaching in 1997 at the School of Visual Arts, but that was an illustration class. We didn't have a model. I started teaching with models in 1998. And so, yes, I've been doing 2-minute gesture poses, thousands and thousands and thousands of them. So like there's an art to it. Like you don't want to outline everything completely. You want to use continuous line. If you just think of the 2-minute gesture pose as just a warm-up, it's a way to warm up not only your hand, but what nobody really talks about is it's warming up your vision to see things quicker, okay? That's what the 2-minute gesture drawing is all about, seeing things quicker. Okay, so I tried to do like my finger on my iMac, but no, it's not a touchscreen. Talk 14, I have not done long poses in a hot minute. I think I am more comfortable with gestures. And so I think Talk 14, you need to do long poses and gesture drawing. Why do I say that? Because you start to use one of those as like a crutch. And it's like your... it's almost, it's like a crutch that supports your drawing skills. If you just do one, like you've got to get out of your comfort zone and you've got to do short poses and long poses. I think that's really important. And I didn't get better until I started doing both. I'm going to zoom out for a second here. I'm going to try to talk a little less and just draw. Cool. Okay. Where's the top of my piece of paper? Let's do it this way. And where's the bottom of my piece of paper? Oh, that's a little bit bigger. Okay, I promise you we will zoom in. Let me just get started here with this. So where would I start this really complicated pose? I'm going to do this. Now, when I do that, that's the torso. I know that's light on YouTube. You can probably barely see it, but I'm working light to dark right now. So I'm going to do the torso into right of the center of the privates, people. Okay, so that's my line of action. I'm going to do a little line of letter C over here for the lat muscle that we cannot see. Okay, I said I was going to talk a little less, but quad, calf muscle, heel, foot. Okay, so very, very gestural, very, very light to dark. Now, the other butt. And this leg, calf muscle, and the bottom of this model's foot. Oh God, that is so funny. It's like toes, bottom of the top, top of the bottom, her head is below that foot. That foot could be here. Yes. Shoulder. Draw with tone sometimes. Is that on the monitor? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in momentarily, and I'm going to go darker shortly. So how far away is that hand? I know that's very light. Let's go over here to that hand. Now, okay, cool. That's better. That's the way that you should do this, people, not the way that I did it in the previous one. So let me zoom in. Good, good, good. So, and I'll press down harder so you can actually see what the heck I'm even doing here. It's just, yeah, there's two different ways to do live drawing. One way, not the only way, is from light to dark. Okay, but you should do both. You should practice light to dark, and you should practice pressing down hard on your pencil. So let me start and go to an area that let me just look at this chat. Yeah, not lifting the pencil off. I know it's light. I get you. I get you. So now I can start to press down like a little bit harder. So I'm going to do this model's hamstrings, quad, privates, and convex line, and the butt, the glutes. Good. I'm going to resharpen my pencil. So just give me a second to flesh this out. This is the model's shorts. So it's wrapping around the cylinder of the other glute, and then it's coming in. Okay, so now we've got the other side of the glutes, the butt, and I'm not going to outline this leg because that got me into trouble on the other one, so I'm not outlining. So kneecap area. Let's do a little bit inside. So this is the top of the shorts. Okay, I'm going to just do some form lines over here at the privates. And now we've got abs and the navel. Cool. And there's a lot of folds of skin over here on the rib cage. I don't want to press down too hard with that because that's not flattering. So I'm going to just ignore that. So now I'm going to do what is right below this part of the calf muscle. It's kind of the center of the quad there. So I'm cool with that. I could even make it shorter and come in for more of a foreshortened look. So look, I'm rolling into the back of the knee right there. And so I'm going darker with my pencil because also a form line back of the knee because I want this to come forward. Now, what about this? So we've got kneecap area. If I outline this totally, it's going to stiffen up. So yeah, okay. So ankle, side of the foot, ball of the foot, big toe. So now I'm just going to do this heel. And a little bit of tone. Heel coming up. And I'm just doing a line for where the toes would be placed. But I'm not going to draw right now every individual toe. Just for the sake, I want to work out. So do you see that? Hopefully you can see that foot and that leg. So now I can go a little darker over here with some tone. Cool, cool. Okay, so look at the distance from the stomach to that leg. Maybe I could give this model some bigger quads because she's very muscular. I'm going to just say that she's probably a dancer. And yes, let's bring the abs up a little bit. How far away is that ribcage? So yeah. So this skin little section is smaller than I thought it was. So now I'm drawing I'm trying my very best to draw an accurate shape of the skin versus the fabric. Let's get in that center line. I'm still stylized. A little bit of tone, a little bit of tone. Okay, cool. So let's do this leg. So we've got this. This is really good practice. So around, kneecap. calf muscle, Achilles tendon. Make sure I don't get out of control here and go too long with it. Let me just lift up this sheet of paper. 1 second. Almost there. Almost there. So I've got to get the heel. So this is not tilted that much. Heel shape. And the foot and the perspective of the foot. Big toe, big toe, big toe. Perspective of that is tilting. Hopefully that's on the camera. Okay, cool. Yes, it is. So this is the bottom. That's the perspective of that foot. And this is the bottom of the heel. And the heel always needs to kick out for the balance. And this should be round like that. Maybe that's a little too big for this pose, but I'm going to just stick with it right now. I'm not too concerned about perfection here. So now we can do breast and strap. Better. Fabric and strap. And this side plane of the pectoralis muscle. And yes, cool. Center of the breast, underplane shadow, top of the fabric, cool. And oh, I like this song. Okay, what am I listening to right now? This is such a chill song. I love that song. I got to be careful I don't make it too loud. It's good for drawing. It just is mindless. Bicep, elbow. Is this on the monitor? Yeah. Okay. So this toe needs to be a little longer. Ooh, this strap is too tall. So shoulder. And trapezius into the bottom of the model's ear. Look at the negative space between the toe and the hair. So I'm cool with that. I'll make it all work momentarily. Just bear with me. I'm still measuring as I'm drawing. Eye socket. Eye socket. Hair. Crazy hair. And I'll look at the chat in a moment. The reference, I get all the reference from this website called Graphit Studio. I think it's Grafit. Graphit Studio. And I bought this one years ago, so I don't know if this is still up on that website. So now let's try to make the foreshortened leg stick out a little bit more. So we're going to start with the big toe. I made the foot a little bit bigger for exaggeration purposes, and you can do that too with a foreshortened pose. So make this a little bit more complicated. Convex. This is the heel. I'm pressing down harder because this is coming forward. Okay. Cool. And let me tweak this. So heel. I'm so far away from this reference, it's not even funny. Let me just try to get a little closer here. And let me just lower this a touch. Sorry. Better. Okay, cool. And This rolls in. So little toe, just do ovals. It's very stylized, but it's very quick. Wrapping in and around the oval. I'm switching and looking at two different references. I got to just pick one reference and look at one. This is actually a little bit wider than what I have. So, yeah, this is really good practice, like this kicking my butt today. Convex line. Don't go too dark on the top plane. Awesome. Hamstring. Go a little light over here. That rolls in. And kneecap area could be thicker. Or I can just kick this out. Yes. Okay. Where are we? Around the breast. I shouldn't go too dark with the bottom of the breast. I just screwed up a little bit there. Should be lighter. And over here, where is the hand? It's pretty much, I'm just suggesting, I'm not going to draw the hand totally right now. I'm just suggesting the fist. And I like to do this like mummification thing just to show that that's somewhat. Well, let's just draw it. Cool. It's a very gestural. So, yeah. Now, technically, this whole leg should be darker. Because it's away from the light. And that helps to show the foreshortened quality. Then I'm going to go darker here. Darker here. All the way up. I'm doing a continuation up into this arm. Up into this thumb. Is that on the monitor? Yeah. Okay. How far away is the thumb from the head? So maybe we'll leave this one here and we'll do another one. See how I went a little bit lighter with the head because it's going further back? So I just want to show you on this particular pose the simple form. So the simple form is, let's talk about this butt. I'll draw it over here. So that butt, the glute, is an oval. And that oval is being overlapped by a curved cylinder to the knee. And then an oval is overlapping that cylinder, the calf muscle, and then the torso peanut shape for the foot is overlapping that oval. So you've got to think of it as these shapes that are overlapping one another with this foreshortened thing that we have going on here. I know that's so ugly, but that's really what's happening. Let me just see here. Yeah, their references are a killer. I don't know, Solar, the name of this. I bought this back in like 2018, I think. I have no clue. Okay. Let me shake out my hand. How long have we been here for today? So we started at 10:30, about an hour and 10 minutes. I could keep pushing this, but does this make sense? Does anybody have any questions? So remember this. You must Before you draw, you should do this. What is right below the heel? What is right below the heel? What is right below the calf muscle? What is right below that glute? And what is right below the ear? Okay. Now, let me just mess up this drawing a little bit for a second. Actually, can you just give me a split second to stand? Yes, you can. I know you can. I need to stretch my shoulder. Like an hour of drawing is the most I can deal with. One second. 1 second. My God, my shoulder is like beyond tight right now. Okay, so this is how the drawing from last week turned out. Yeah, with the mechanical pencil, I was fairly pleased with it. I think I worked on it for like an hour and a half, 2 hours after the live stream. Maybe. And we did this yesterday in my Zoom class for members of drawingtutorialsonline.com. We were doing crazy light sources. And so this one, the face was basically backlit. And this is a 12-minute drawing, maybe 15 minutes tops. So we were going fast, people, really, really fast. And then, like I said, we were doing like different crazy types of lighting. This was a 12-minute drawing where we were just going great guns super fast. And before the class, I was talking with the students about different ways to shade. And yeah, lots of cool stuff that we were doing. Now, listen, I'm going to do another drawing for you. But before I do, I just want to go over this one and show you a couple things that you need to look for. But I'm going to do a quick commercial. This is the best that I can do for a commercial, people. So listen, if you're interested in what do you struggle with? Like, what is it that you're struggling with? Is it portrait drawing? Do you want to get likeness, but you can't get likeness? Is it like oil painting? Do you, because I'm really totally trained as an oil painter. I don't barely ever paint anymore. Do you struggle with mixing paint and matching values? Like what is it that you need help with? If you need help, I offer help outside of YouTube, 2 different ways. One is via coaching. Let me just switch gears here for a second. Yeah, so I definitely do coaching, one-on-one coaching. If you click on the link in the description below, you can go to my website, click on shop. And right now I'm offering 3 different types of coaching. One coaching is a coaching for high school students, which is a pre-college portfolio, helping you get your portfolio together to have portfolio reviews to not only get into college, but to get a scholarship. The other type of coaching is just a one-time coaching where you send me your work, I critique it, I assess it, and then we meet on Zoom afterwards, and we go over things and we give you a plan moving forward. And then the third type of coaching is it's a 4-session coaching where you send me your work, I critique it, we meet on Zoom or just via the telephone. We talk about a path moving forward, then you do homework, and then you send me your work every 2 weeks. And then I critique it. We have a follow-up Zoom call or a call. And so that is how I help people outside of YouTube. And I also help people, if you join my website, I have full courses with PDFs, photo reference, everything. And you can download the PDFs. You can download the photo reference. So if you want to support the channel, maybe consider a membership to drawingtutorialsonline.com. But Matt, why would I do that? You're teaching on YouTube. Because I give you feedback on your work every single Monday, you can upload to the critique gallery, and I will draw on top of your drawing. And I've been doing this for so many years that you can learn so much information in such a short period of time, and it will save you years of heartache. Okay, end of commercial. So let's do this. Let's go back to this one. I'm almost done with this. We're going to do another one. Awesome. So, look, people, this shape here from the model's hair. So the model's hair comes down. It's very close to the big toe. I love saying big toe when I'm a teacher. It's just the funniest thing ever. And then the bottom of the ear. And then we have the side of the neck into the trapezius. And then we have the deltoid. And then we have into, this is the inside of the ankle. So that is your tibia. Tibia, side of the foot, complicated edge, ball of the foot, big toe, up to the hair. So this is a shape that listen, I love negative space. Yeah, some teachers are like, negative space is the worst thing. You never want to use negative space. That's fine. Every teacher's going to have their opinion, and I'm very okay with that. But I have gotten through so many difficult drawings with this negative space. It has helped me so much. Okay, that's how I learned how to draw negative space back in the 70s. Now, where is another negative space? I'm not going to do negative space. Instead, I'm going to say, hey, what is right below, go parallel with the edge of the sheet of the paper. I'm tilted a little bit this way. I suck. Okay, so I would have liked to, so let's just leave it like that. It's fine. What's right below that line? What is right below her butt? What, look at this negative space now. So this is, sorry, I've got to teach this because this is what gets you results, even though it's not sexy. So calf muscle, gastrocnemius, hamstring area. Look at this negative space. You have to look at this space. If it's too tall, the arm's going to be wrong. Okay. So another negative space. And look, what is right across from the model's thumb? This, so the thumb needs to be slightly higher, I think, or maybe I'm wrong. These things, sorry, I've got to do this for you. This is called teaching, and you need to write this down. Measure lines. Negative space or shape, whatever you like. I guess a negative space would have, it wouldn't be closed. So this would just be space around the model. That's a negative shape because it's enclosed. Okay. It took me like 14 years to figure that out. I think it's really also very, very important that you draw with tone and that this leg is shaded versus the lighter rib cage. And that helps with the foreshortened aspect of things. And then this is people overlap. You've got to think about overlap when you are drawing things that are foreshortened, even though this looks horrendous. The other thing, people, is that you need to do convex lines. What the hell is a convex line? A convex line is a line that rolls into the body and then slowly disappears. And what this does is it shows three-dimensional form, and it's awesome. Okay, so we've got a convex line over here. I'm exaggerating in them. You don't want to go this hard with your pencil. Convex line, convex line, convex line. This is a convex line over here that I didn't do a great job with. Let me just look at these comments here. I can't wait to go home and follow along on the replay. I don't think they'd want me to decorate my dessert plates with 1-minute gesture poses and chocolate. Oh, that sounds good. Okay. Thank you, Michelle. I really super duper appreciate you watching. Should we do one more or should I drop this live stream? What do you think, people? What should I do? Which pose? I want to get away from this one. I want to do a different view. Yeah. So check this out. Check this out. That is so funny. So funny. It almost looks like they're leaping to grab onto a gymnastics bar or something like that, like the double bars. What is that thing called? I forgot. In the Olympics. So darker here makes that come forward. No outline makes that go back. Cool? Okay. Let me get a new sheet of paper. Oh, here's another song that is so chill. If you like chill stuff. Yeah, I like this one. It's very repetitive. That's why I like it for when you're drawing. Okay. Let me get a sheet of paper here. So let's move this sucker. So I just want to do this. Time out. So just to kind of give you an idea, it might look a little bit different from this view. So look at how the foot jumps off of the paper. And I'm being stylized with it, but you've got to go darker on the object that is coming closest to you, okay? Okay. Parallel bar, you got it. Paper. Awesome. I'll switch cameras in a second here, people. Oh, tape. Tape. Now listen, if you're watching this video for the first time, you're seeing me on this live stream, please like the video. I don't ask that enough on this platform. Okay, what are we doing? Is it 4? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Do I want to continue with the color race? Yeah, I guess so. All right, let's see. Top of the paper. Let me mark where I'm at. Bottom of the paper. Where the hell is it? There we go. Cool. So that is tiny, but it's all good. I'm not going to concern myself right now with the arms. I'll get them. So how am I going to start this? Is that on the camera? Yeah, I get you. It's light. Should I go with a different pencil? No, I'll go faster. Okay, so shoulders through the hair. Lat muscle. Stomach, not stomach, but mid-lower back. Wrap around. Top of the shorts. Side of the hips. Center of the butt. Convex line. How are we doing here? 1 second. Wrap around the cylinder of the leg. Thank you, Sorabai. I really do appreciate that. Okay, so bottom of the butt. It's a little lower than what I've got there. And privates. Okay, now this leg is not foreshortened. Look at the negative space. Continuous line. And shorts. Bottom of the shorts. Wrap around. Don't go so hard with that. Pressing down hard. Opposite letter C. And you don't even need to draw this, but I'm going to draw it. So bottom of the shorts. Let's go over here before we get to those foreshortened legs. A little bit of the spine. Cylinder, cylinder, cylinder. Rib. That could be thinner. Convex line. That's part of the glute. Lat muscle, and I'm just going to go like that with the bottom of the top. It's not symmetrical. Cool. And let's come back over here. So good. And 1 second. So now this is the inside of the knee. Now, what I'm going to look at next, people, is I'm looking for a landmark. How far away is the heel from something? So I'm going to say the heel is across from the privates. Now, look, this is how you draw foreshortened poses the boring way. It's not sexy, but it works. What is right across from the privates? It's the top of the heel. What do we do next? We look at the negative space between this leg and the heel. Now, that only works if I got the angle of that leg correct. So across from heel, negative space. So you're thinking about 3 things at one time. Okay. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do a little bit of shading like that. And the foot, I don't want to go too small with the foot because I could exaggerate the size of the foot and make it bigger. Now, this is all 1000% dependent upon your style and what you like and how much you intend to exaggerate. I'm not really into exaggeration. There are other teachers here on YouTube who teach that, and they're really, really good. Could I make the foreground foot a little bit bigger than how it appears in the photo? Yes, I can. So I'm just going to leave that like that. I'm not worried about making it perfect just yet. Let's go look at the other foot now, and I can zoom in a touch. Okay. Oh, 1 second. 1 second. Okay, now this I should be a little bit quicker with. Look at where that calf muscle, gastrocnemius, how far away is that from the butt? It's a little bit further than what I have. This is just an oval, and this lower leg tilts up. It tilts up. This is such hardcore practice. Now look at the heel, and how far away is that from this hamstring tendon area? And now the bottom of the foot is a little mini torso peanut shape. And now this is up to you, and only you get to decide. Do you want to make this foot bigger to create the optical illusion of coming forward? That's your call. That's your call. I don't want to make it too much bigger. I'll break this down a little bit more momentarily. Let's just try to get the rest of the pose, but I'm going to lower the piece of paper so I can get more of the arms. Cool. Yeah, so that both feet could be bigger. They could. And that would accentuate the distance and the space. So 1 second. Let me just look at some of these comments. Sir, how are you so good in drawing? Tell me some tips to improve my drawing. First time when I listened to your YouTubers like requests. Okay, so I've just been doing this my whole life, and in my past life, I was a book illustrator, and when I was a book illustrator for 18 years, there were days when I would be in front of my easel painting for literally 10 to 12 hours to meet the deadline. So when you do that, you have no choice but to get better, because I was physically painting for hours at a time, and that's the I don't know if you know the book I think it's Outliners or Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, I think. It's been a while, and what his idea is that if you do something for 10,000 hours, you become like an expert at that thing. And if it's not 10,000 hours, then it's 10 years. Whichever comes first, you're an expert. So I'm in my mid to late 50s. So if my career started when I graduated from college, let's just say 20 years old, 10, 20, almost 30 years. So I've been doing this for a long time. That's the short answer to your question. And you have to have good teachers, but you need to also, the best way to get really good is to teach. And I started getting really, really good when I started teaching at the School of Visual Arts, because I had to come up with lessons and I had to analyze why something worked. And I really kind of had to think it through. And once I started teaching, I would say that's when I got really, really good. And part of that is the concept of constant life drawing, constant gesture drawing. And I mean, I've literally done, I don't even know how many, but thousands and thousands of gesture poses in the classroom. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of demonstrations in the classroom. And so you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. So today, I wouldn't call today my best day of drawing, but it's just fighting through it. So let me just put some tone over here. So what I just need to accept is that sometimes that my teaching drawings are really not pretty. Like I really love teachers who their teaching drawings are really gorgeous. Sometimes mine are pretty and sometimes they're not. You be the judge. I'll let you judge. I won't judge, but I don't love them today. But yeah. Okay, so let's do a convex line. And let me just get this big toe. I'm doing that via shadow. Oh, and yes, it comes up. And it's an oval. And oval lines around the heel. And then these toes. God, I'm just suggesting right now, I'm not going to draw those individual toes. Not going to happen, people. And what about this side? So I'm doing some shading. So this is the gastrocnemius muscle. And I'm shading the bottom plane. It should be curved shading lines to promote three-dimensional form. Convex line at the glute. And now what we have here is we have the heel, which is the torso peanut shape, shading on the side of the foot that blends in with the lower leg. Don't outline too much. Big toe. Ovals for the little toes. You don't even need to outline them. Just suggest. A couple of folds of skin on the bottom. Now, okay. Let's... I'm being loose today, people. I'm being loose. We were tight last week. So, darker. Darker. Darker and sharper. Make that foot come forward. Darker. So this is just hardcore in your face. Let's just draw, right? And you should do this. Like you should just in your face, people. That's what you've got to say to yourself. Like in your face, John, in your face, Michelle, in your face, Orbai, I'm just going to kind of draw today. And I don't really care if I screw up. And that's how you get better. Like, yeah, totally. So you have to go for it and not worry about being perfect all the time. And that, I would say, what is one of my biggest problems with drawing is the perfection trap. always trying to make things like look perfect rather than just kind of like sketching and having a good time and just moving the pencil around the paper. I'm not going to get those arms going up. They're way too high, so I'm just going to do that. So now, technically, this, excuse me, should be the thickest, darkest line. Thickest, darkest line, make that come forward. So let's just talk a little theory here. So this leg is a cylinder that is like that. Cool. This leg without the foot is a curved. Love this song. Good song. Very repetitive, but I like that when I'm drawing. So, yes, cylinder, curved cylinder, overlapping. Okay, and now the other overlap is the torso for the bottom of the foot. So ugly, but that's the, yes. So this leg is just this. Okay. It's that shape without the foot, right? It's just that. Cool. Any questions? I'm going to just try to draw one more quick drawing. So, foreshortening, last one. So, that's so low, but let's just leave it. So, shoulder, chest, chest, shoulder, first rib, rib cage, bicep, and navel. Could be lower, actually. Damn it. Pelvis box. V shape. Damn it, that should have been lower. Rib cage pops up. Chest. Rib, chest. Glute is kind of being pushed up from the floor, and then this I'm just doing this because I want to show you foreshortening in a different way. Listen, I get you. That's really light. I know that sucks. But let me just move this. It's a really dark, rainy day here today. Okay, almost there. I just need more tape. 1 second. I'll touch on shading briefly in one little section of this little sketch. So now let's just do the person's head as a cylinder. And okay, so I would have liked to have fit this whole thing in. So damn it. Let me zoom out. Center line, center line, center line, center line. So that is our center line. Okay, now this would be the bicep, shoulder, forearm, hand. Okay, let's make this leg a little smaller. So, okay, in this quick sketch, what we have now is we have a little bit of perspective. So just think of that as like your yoga mat going back in perspective. So now like the shoulders would be going up to the horizon line. The chest would be going up to the horizon line. The perspective box for the pelvis. Maybe the knee is the horizon line. So maybe that would be level. Now, if I wanted to, I can say, oh, okay, so this is the box of the face. That's the top of the head. And this could be the box of the shoulders. Give or take, it doesn't need to be perfect. That could be the surface planes of the chest. That could be the box of the bicep. Going back. So this is different now. This is involving, when we're talking about foreshortening stuff, it's involving now perspective, which I didn't talk about on the previous poses. They were just a little bit more, whatchamacallit, from photos and a little bit more gestural. Okay, so this is a whole different kit and caboodle in terms of drawing something that's foreshortened. And if we wanted to, we would say, oh, okay, cool, the light's coming from the top, and I'm going to shade the head, the side of the arm, the side of the hip, and the side of the chest, side of the leg, and the side of this leg. So now I can also say that it's coming a little bit from that way. So I can go a little darker here for more three-dimensional form, a little darker over here. And so that's a whole different thing. Okay. Slaw Jack, hi, I've seen your channel before. You are an art teacher. Yep, absolutely. I teach in the animation department at the School of Visual Arts. I've taught in the illustration department there, and I teach on my own website, drawingtutorialsonline.com. So yes, I'm definitely an art teacher. Okay. All right, people, I think that's just about it for today. Just to answer Sorabai's question about shading, one of the most important things that you can all practice is practice doing gradations. And have them be a little bit more gradual. So we're in the dark. We're in the dark halftone. We're in the midtone. We're in the light midtones, and we're in the light. So this is what you need to practice. You need to practice control. So you have your dark, middle tone, light middle tone, dark mid-tone. Now the Colorase is not the best pencil to do this in, and then this would be light. So you always want to do a 5 value system. And so this is the 5 value system. This is just a gradation. So you can see over here, Sorabai, the quickest way to shade is just going straight up and down. Okay, just straight up and down, straight up and down, straight up and down. This is when you're blocking in tone. But if I was to switch to the drawing that I just did, I'm not necessarily, I'm shading with the direction of the lay of the land. So this leg is going at a 45-degree angle. I'm shading that way. This leg is going this way. I'm shading that way, if that makes sense. All right. 1 second. Okay, people. So listen, if you want to support the channel, please give the video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not. And if you want to get notified, I'm going live every single week. If you want to get notified when I go live, definitely hit the bell thing, okay? Now, if you want to further support the channel and these free live streams, take a look at drawingtutorialsonline.com. Look at the membership. You can join for a month, you can join for 2 months, and then you can cancel, no questions asked. And there's a lot on the website. There's like full courses. I cover composition, landscape stuff, portrait drawing, figure drawing, a full anatomy course. I've got tons of courses. Illustration course also, which is something that I really, really love. And not only that, but you can also get your artwork critiqued. And I have a live Zoom class where we can talk together, unlike here on YouTube where it's just chat. But on the Zoom class, we could talk. Like I've got a student, Jake, and he's been with me for, I think, 2 months now, maybe a little bit longer. I'm not sure. He's improved so much because he's probably watching the live stream right now. And he also does all the homework. He uploads his drawings to my website, and I draw on top of them every Monday. So he's getting feedback there, and he's also getting feedback from me on these live Zoom calls that I do with the students of drawingtutorialsonline.com on Tuesdays. And a lot of people hate Zoom, and I understand it. I don't love it either. But there's a little bit more connection on Zoom than there is on like this situation where on YouTube, which I love too, is just chat. So yeah, that's how you can support the channel, by checking those things out. So let me just kind of go through this. Let's see. So Arlene, oh God. Okay. Next time, Arlene, if you have any questions, just let me know. Sorabai, thank you so much. I appreciate you watching. And Michelle, thank you so much. I appreciate you watching. Catherine, I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Slar. Appreciate you. And Slawjack, you got it. You got it. And what you also can consider doing is, if you have an idea for a future live stream, just put it in the comments in the chat. That would be pretty awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you, Slawjack. Yeah, so I'll be I don't know if next week I'm gonna be doing a live stream during the week. As a matter of fact, I'm not gonna be doing a live stream during the week. Maybe I can just do something from the classroom. I don't know, but maybe check out the drawing, my YouTube posts. I'll post some drawings of some student artwork, and yeah. So I'll be out of the studio here all week, and I'll be in Manhattan teaching. So. I'll try to squeeze one in if I can. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Have a good week, okay? Yeah, have a good week. I'll see you next week.